What is something you silently judge people for? Being obliviously in the way. Like getting to the end of an escalator and just standing there. Or standing with a group of people in a doorway or aisle. Or stopping to stare at your phone in the middle of the sidewalk. Just move out of the way like 2 steps and everyone's life is easier. I've encountered people blocking the aisle in the store. They'll be standing there having a conversation and blocking the entire aisle. Yet when you say excuse me, they give you a dirty look. Like you're in the wrong for asking them politely to get out of way. One of the first things my mom taught me when I was a kid and we were in the store is never block the aisle, it's rude. This can be solved with a very condescendingly toned and quat. Excuse me and quat, or and quat. You're in the way and quat. Grown adults should know better and they need to be reminded. Having worked for Disney parks and resorts, but also being a bit of my go-to is, with a big OL smile on my face. Hi folks, you are actually right in the middle of literally everyone's way standing here. Thank you. You'd think that work, but I had this backfire on me. Was at a grocery with my very elderly grandma. We needed to go down an aisle to finish shopping before we head for the checkout. There was a very large group of 20-somethings blocking the end of the aisle we had to go down. Grandma's legs were starting to hurt and I pushed my way through the group saying, "Excuse me," and we got to the middle of the aisle. That group then left to another aisle, but one member decided to come over to my grandma and I, got in my face, and started screaming, "Excuse me," while waving her arms about. I was just staring at her without saying anything and she eventually left to join the group in another aisle. Not sure what that was about. When people just stop walking while they're going down a hallway for no f.ing reason. They just stand there in the middle of the hall f.ing oblivious that people almost ran into them because who the f just stops walking? I hate when people leave their paper coffee cup on a random shelf in Walmart when they're done with it. That's so gross and entitled. Throw away your own garbage. I used to work at a grocery store, Publix. People would leave chicken from the fried chicken in the deli all throughout the store. You lose a lot of faith in humanity working with customers. I was a bag boy at a Piggly Wiggly in rural South Carolina. I sometimes stocked shelves. A full-time stalker got fussed at by the owner and muttered under his breath, "What makes you think I won't cut you?" The same owner took me out to pick up carts one day and asked me if I was saved. The co-owner told me bagged ice was a big profit maker because it cost little to produce, but people around there needed it because they couldn't afford refrigerators. When I used to work at a craft store, a little girl, probably no older than 8, grabbed an item and put it in the cart, and then at the register she also wanted a candy and her mom started yelling at her about how and quat, "You're so stupid, you can't have more than one thing. You don't even understand the concept of money and our family is saving up for your Disney trip. Why do you even want that garbage when you're going to your dad's later anyway?" And quat, like, chill out. She's a kid, she just wants a f.ing gummy bear. When I taught in Detroit, MI, USA, the family across from my school had their dogs chained up with no dog houses or anything. Before I left for summer break, I called the Humane Society. When we got back in the fall, there were 2 giant doghouses with straw, or hay. A fence, kinda crappy but still, and much happier looking dogs. I would have rather them go inside, but if I had lived there, I would have wanted watchdogs too, I guess. When I feel tired, I remember that I did do that one good thing that one time. Kinda niche, but I silently judge people who do extremely hard hikes, dangerous hikes woefully unprepared or wearing sandals, sneakers, inappropriate footwear. I live in Colorado and too often we get headlines related to these kinds of people. There is no excuse with all the resources available to research the hike you're doing. Ultimately, S&R is going to have to use their resources to save your ass from something that was of your own doing. But I judge silently because I believe that sometimes you do need to learn the hard way. This is funny because I always go super over-prepared and I feel a little silly doing a 4-mile hike with 60 ounces of water, a whole first aid kit, and extra sunscreen, snacks. All this crap I never use. But one day I was vindicated when a dog had stepped on a cactus and needed my tweezers to pull out the spikes so he could keep going. Poor dog's owner was carrying him along, and this was not a small dog. I was like, hey, hell yeah, I got tweezers. I've also given out a lot of band-aids to small kids who have scraped their knees. I'm like the hiking fairy.